Earlier in my coverage, while discussing the events of Dracula's attack on New York, which is still unfolding throughout the duration of the following Season 1, we talked about how Spider-Man met an odd woman who calls herself SpiderZero, and we can learn more about her in the situation here through Penny Parker's lore entry, Tokyo by Night, which tells us, "It sure would be easy to be sad," thought Penny Parker as she climbed out of the hot springs and got ready for her next patrol. She'd lost her parents, the world had been completely turned upside down because of some guy named Doom had scrambled all of time, ruining the web of life and destiny or whatever, and if that wasn't enough, she was in Tokyo and was set to miss every high school event in New York for the next forever. Seriously heavy stuff, but at least she would get to skip finals. She'd also have a lot of time to put her dad's spider mech through its paces and work in his old lab. It wasn't easy letting herself be bitten by a radioactive spider, but Penny would have done it 100 times over to be able to follow in her dad's footsteps. Now she's linked to Spider, fighting bad guys and protecting not just Tokyo, but the entirety of time and space. Plus, there's this Chronovium stuff everywhere. What even is that? She knew people were after it, but what did it do exactly? She'd run some experiments that suggested it was like crystallized time, but that didn't explain much. Next time Penny took Spider in for maintenance and upgrades, she planned to spend a little more time figuring out exactly what Chronovium could do. Life was a lot better when you focused on the positive. She needed to remind herself of that from time to time, because she spent a lot of her time fighting a whole slew of weirdos from other timelines that probably didn't even know they were threatening the collapse of all time and space. Those details weren't always clear to Penny, but she loved hearing the Master Weaver and his apprentice, SpiderZero, argue about it. And she knew that when push came to shove, as it often had since the time stream entanglement, she and Spider would defend the web, even on mundane patrol missions like the one she was just starting now. That meant defending the Master Weaver and SpiderZero, who were always so preoccupied with mending and weaving that they pretty much never noticed when they were about to be attacked. Like right now. A single Doombot angled toward the Nexus at the heart of the web of life and destiny. The Master Weaver never noticed it. Penny did though, and she had a plan. "Spider, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Spider was. Penny tensed, and Spider leapt away from the web strand she'd been sitting on, falling towards the Doombot. She had to time this just right, or it would be a long fall to the ground somewhere in Shinjuku. And Spider might be able to handle the fall, but the shock of landing wouldn't do Penny any good. But her timing, as it turned out, was perfect. The Doombot noticed her far too late. Just as she had shot her webs out from Spider's spinnerets and used a web strand to snap her around in a long arc, the Doombot barely managed to even turn around when Spider slammed into it feet first. Sparks shot from its chassis, and bits of armor plating stuck to nearby strands of web as the Doombot tumbled away into the neon-speckled darkness below. Penny finished off the maneuver with a perfect, thruster-assisted double somersault that landed her on an upper strand of the web, close enough to the Nexus where she could see both the Master Weaver and SpiderZero. They were talking and Penny didn't want to interrupt, so she hung upside down, just because, until SpiderZero headed out into one of the web strands, making little repairs as she went. Penny noticed SpiderZero removing stuck bits of Doombot armor on her way and felt a little guilty, but hey, she'd done what a hero had to do, protect the web. Still, did either Doom, ever run out of those things? "I suspect not," a familiar voice said by her side, and Penny jumped. It was the Master Weaver. "Not exactly. I sensed certain vibrations in the web, and they suggested to me what you were thinking." "Right," Penny said. "Same diff. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you. I've been doing some experiments in my dad's lab, my lab now, and Chronovium, wow, what is that stuff anyway?" "Here it's become part of the web," the Master Weaver replied, "but all things are ultimately part of the web." Which was a super Master Weaver-like thing to say, but didn't really bring a lot of clarity to the situation. Before Penny could rephrase the question, the Master Weaver had passed on to another part of the web. She decided to take the same question to SpiderZero though. Also, she wanted to know if anyone knew when Doom was going to attack the web itself. That seemed like a near certainty since there were just about always Doombots around, but nobody ever wanted to talk about it. Penny didn't know whether that was because they didn't know, or didn't want to tell her because she was a kid, or some other stupid reason, but she felt pretty strongly that Doom attacking the web was a logical next step for him. Either of them. They had to be ready. As she approached SpiderZero, Penny was baffled to see the Weaver's apprentice doing something with paper? At this distance, it was hard to tell. She vaulted over another strand, then another, zigzagging until she got close enough to SpiderZero that she could see SpiderZero dropping little pieces of Chronovium into some of the portals that existed around the Nexus. The Chronovium in the web was kinda sticky, and it looked like SpiderZero was... yeah, she was definitely writing on pieces of paper and then sticking those pieces of paper to Chronovium? Hey, Penny called when she was close enough. What are you writing? A message to another version of myself, SpiderZero said. How do you know where to find other versions of yourself? That's part of what the Master Weaver is teaching me, SpiderZero said. I can listen in on an infinite number of other worlds and futures. Sometimes I can even, she made a conducting motion with both hands, influence them a little. So you could do something about Doom? Or the time stream entanglement? Penny's thoughts drifted to maybe even saving her father, but she just couldn't bring herself to say it. Was it even possible? And if he came back, would Penny just be a regular person again? In her mind, it would be worth it. SpiderZero was watching her, as if she could see the emotional tug of war going on inside Penny's mind. Well, possibly, but that is, if you'll forgive the expression, a very tangled web. Tugging on one strand will have all kinds of unpredictable effects. I wouldn't take any action until I've had more time to trace the path of each strand. How much time? Dunno. More than we've got with so much happening. Okay, so anyway, there are more Doombots climbing the web to get you and the Master Weaver. Penny had just spotted them jetting upward from the ground. SpiderZero looked down. She said, as she scribbled something on a piece of paper and stuck it to a bit of Chronovium. Then she pushed that through a tiny portal that opened briefly like a soap bubble by her hand. The minute she pushed the message through, the portal was gone, and a split second after that, all 3 Doombots were gone too, swallowed up by a larger version of that portal that appeared around them and then blinked out of existence. Whoa, Penny said. That's definitely cooler than what I did. Oh, it's not a competition, SpiderZero said. We all protect the web in our own ways. Speaking of that, Penny said, you guys know that sooner or later Doom is gonna get sick of sending Doombots, and when he does, he'll show up to finish the job himself. Wouldn't surprise me, SpiderZero said. So should we, maybe do something about it? What makes you think we aren't? Penny groaned. You sound more and more like the Weaver every day. SpiderZero smiled. He's teaching me a lot, you know. You've grown a lot since you started protecting the web. And this had Penny feeling pretty good about herself until she looked up and saw SpiderZero right there next to her. I have to repair that, SpiderZero said, pointing at the dangling strands of the web Penny had accidentally snapped while fighting the Doombot. I had to, Penny protested. I know, SpiderZero said. I'm not angry. I just have to repair the web. That's what I do. That's who I am. And without the web, it was Penny's turn to say, I know. After the time stream entanglement, the web was more important than ever. It wasn't just the Dooms they had to worry about, but any dimension-hopping villain or creature might appear at any moment to destroy the web or the Weaver, or they might try to destroy Tokyo or Japan or the world, or all worlds for that matter. But none of that was going to happen while Penny Parker was on patrol. That should be a banner, she thought. Penny Parker on patrol. How cool would it be to have her own banner that followed her around and maybe had her own sound effects, like a synthesized soundtrack? Even better. She started composing the tune in her head as Spider leapt and climbed through the endless strands of the web. And soon enough, she had SpiderZero back where she belonged. She looked down on the city, then up at the vastness of the web and the universe beyond it, and thought, I wish my father could have seen this. My father's also dead, SpiderZero said, pausing for a moment in her work. But I think he would be proud of the work I do. Same for you. Well, that gave Penny a little twinkle in her heart. This hero business wasn't just about the fights. It could make you feel good sometimes too. Now in this lore entry, we learn that there's a very minuscule, slight disagreement between SpiderZero and the Master Weaver, which Spider-Man expands on now that some time has gone by and there are some other heroes keeping New York safe that we can read in the WebWarriors gallery card. Hey kids, Spidey here. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, and that's coming from a guy who swings around New York City on a web and fights villains and vampires all night long. Alright, so I finally took SpiderZero up on her offer and hopped through her portal, mostly because she just wouldn't take no for an answer. And where did I end up? In Tokyo, which sounds kinda cool at first, right? But it wasn't the Tokyo of my world. Nope, that'd be too easy. Instead, it's the Tokyo of the year 2099. As if web swinging 75 years into the future wasn't already strange enough, there seemed to be some sort of Spider-Man cosplay convention going on. Seriously, check this out. There's a girl named Penny and her high-tech spider bot, a Spidey with a spiked mohawk and a guitar who is like a billion times cooler than I could ever be, a low-effort Spidey who kind of looks like you forgot his costume at home, oh, and of course the aforementioned SpiderZero who organized this little shindig. Why'd she bring us here? Well, she says the multiverse is in grave danger, isn't it always? And that the only way we can hold things together is by mending a massive rift in space and time that's shredding the web of life and destiny. You know, the cosmic network of threads that connects all dimensions? So she took a field trip across a few different realities and gathered herself a crew of experts when it comes to spinning strong webs. You can call us the WebWarriors. Or maybe the Spider Fighters? The Arachnites? I don't know, it's still a work in progress. Anyway, we're all on board with Zero's plan. I mean, usually I try to stick to my own turf, but if we can pull this off, we'll end up saving a lot of friendly neighborhoods, and that works for me. The whole thing sounds like an easy win, but, and this is a but bigger than the rhinos, there's someone working against us. Kinda. See, Zero's former mentor, a spider-leg creeper called the Master Weaver, is supposed to be the guy the universe chose to protect the web of life and destiny. Apparently, he's gone rogue, and he's decided that he's going to try to use the temporal energy from the rift to strengthen the web of life and destiny, even if it means putting Tokyo and all of its citizens in unfathomable levels of danger. And that's just not how we Spideys roll. Or swing, you know what I mean. The Master Weaver banished Zero from his fancy little spider islands for having a different and slightly more sane opinion. So now it's up to our scrappy little cluster of spiders to patch up a giant hole in the sky before the web of life and destiny unravels and all of reality follows. Piece of cake, right? See, I told you it was gonna sound weird. Now this advances the story of the Master Weaver, a character that should be an ally, but decided to try and infuse the web of life and destiny with Chronovium despite the consequences that might cause. This is what the Spider Island's missions and matches revolve around, as on the side of the heroes we're tasked with repairing the web of life and destiny, where we can also get this special holographic message.
Okay, here's the deal, Spider friends. I need to get to the floating islands to fix the web of life and destiny. But the public eyes' drones.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area.
And also this discussion with SpiderZero herself.
Wait, you didn't swing here all the way from New York, did you?
On the other side, you can actually help the Master Weaver in his goal of altering the web, while you stop SpiderZero from reaching Budokan in Tokyo 2099. Successfully completing the missions on Spider Islands will grant you the Spider Totem, which reads as just another reminder of the events of this season, going over much of what we're going to explain or already have. However, it does add the extra tidbit that this mythical item was disturbed by the time stream entanglement, despite it being in the Master Weaver's collection. And you can actually see the Spider Totem itself in-game on this map here. So with that said, that's currently all the lore we have on the Spider Islands, Tokyo 2099, Spider-Man, Penny Parker, the Master Weaver, and SpiderZero. But next up, we'll briefly take a break to explain everything going on with Venom, because he's in a very different location, and from there we'll continue the 2099 arc.